The Lipca Rollop automatic TLR camera was manufactured between 1956 and 1961. I have here a near mint example. Come along with me as we go slow and low, resurrecting the Lipca Rollop automatic TLR. The Rollop automatic TLR is somewhat unique and uncommon due to the fact it was contemporary to the perhaps more well-known Rolleiflex TLR cameras. You will notice it sports not only an f2.8 view lens, but also an f2.8 take lens, which makes it very unique, and to my knowledge, one of the few TLR cameras to have an f2.8 take lens along with the Beautyflex, Olympus Flex, and of course the Rolleiflex TLRs. As I mentioned, this camera is in remarkable shape. I found it ironically online at a pawn shop not more than 2.5 hours from my hometown in Tennessee. Overall, we're going to remove the film gate door, replace the seals with some of my more permanent hybrid felt and yarn seals. We're going to clean the focusing screen. We're going to clean both the take and the view lenses, but again, overall, the shutter mechanism itself, which you'll see here in just a moment, is in remarkably great shape. On top of this, we're going to clean off the focusing mirror, which we can see now, and add a light seal to that waist layer viewfinder there at the front. To begin, we will start removing the f2.8 take lens. This lens is very important because it is what actually allows the photograph to be taken. Overall, the lens was in remarkably good condition, aside from a little dirt and some fungus, which we will remove momentarily. This is the view lens being removed from the camera. It is in great shape as well. It is less important that this lens be clean because essentially it serves only as the viewfinder for the camera and will not affect overall image quality. Now I will cycle through all the shutter speeds of this beautiful Prontor SVS leaf shutter in the Rollop automatic TLR camera. As you can see, the shutter ranges from bulb mode all the way to 1/300th of a second. As you noticed, this shutter is also capable of shooting in EV steps by linking the aperture and the shutter speeds together. All times appear to be, at least by ear, extremely accurate. I begin with an enormous mistake. My intentions were to remove the rear element of the take lens to facilitate easier cleaning. However, this did not go as planned, and after a little bit of medication, I realized the problem. I was actually cycling the lens forward, pushing the shutter out from the camera, which nearly ended in catastrophe. Fortunately enough, as you can see, the shutter still works just fine. After placing the shutter into bulb mode, I add a small amount of painter's tape to hold the leaf shutter open so I can clean the rear element of the take lens, since I'm not now, of course, able to remove it. A remarkable amount of dust came from the film compartment, so I continued to blow out both the front and rear of the camera prior to using the Zeiss wipe to clean the rear element of the f2.8 taking lens. I am now cleaning the front element of that f2.8, beautiful f2.8 take lens before placing it back into the camera. Much the pity, I did notice some fungus in between the lens element, which means I need to take out the front element to clean in between the pieces of glass. Very, very carefully. With the elements of the take lens now spotless, I prepare them to be reassembled and placed back inside the camera. The view lens of the camera was much cleaner, fortunately, than the take lens, and required no disassembly to remove fungus or dirt from inside the elements. My original intention in Cleaning the waist level viewfinder of the Rollop automatic was to completely remove the focusing screen and Fresnel to replace them with a brighter screen from a Pentagon 6. Unfortunately, I noticed that the screen itself is not meant to be removed as it is glued, so for cleaning I will let the focusing screen remain in the waist level viewfinder. But first, before cleaning the actual focusing screen, I want to clean off that old bit of foam light seal using a bit of 91% isopropyl alcohol. I use a Q-tip to rub along the front of the waist level viewfinder to soften that old adhesive before scraping it off with the little plastic tool that you see there. I now move along to the rear camera door to scrape off the old light seals from around the edge of the door itself. This adhesive and this foam was highly degraded, highly sticky, so it will require quite a few rounds of isopropyl alcohol along with scraping to remove the old light seals prior to the installation of my hybrid semi-permanent light seals. I have placed a link to the camera restoration and repair playlist down in the description of this video if you would like to learn more about my hybrid light seal process. From here, I will speed up the video and you can see just how much work it takes to remove these old light seals. Even after all of this, there was still residue remaining, so I sprayed it with more alcohol and allowed it to set while we move on to cleaning the focusing mirror. I make use of another Zeiss wipe as they are extremely safe for the majority of high-end optics. Be enormously careful what you use to clean focusing mirrors because many of them are silver coated and harsh chemicals such as alcohol or ammonia can damage them irreparably. It's now time to clean the focusing screen of the waist level viewfinder. Again, I would have much rather removed the entire screen itself to clean in between the focusing glass and the Fresnel itself. I make use of some Koala optics cleaner to clean both the top and bottom of the focusing screen after blowing out the majority of the big particles. Now, I did notice, even after cleaning, there appeared to be some dust stuck between the Fresnel and the ground glass, but unfortunately, since the screen is not easily removable, that is something I will just have to live with. As I returned to the rear film door of the camera, I did notice there was still quite a bit of old residue from the previous light seals stuck to the metal. So I scraped again and scraped again and scraped again. Ultimately, I decided the best course of action was to continue saturating the old seals to hopefully remove as much residue as possible and pick up this following day. After a bit more scrubbing, I finally felt it was time to apply the new permanent to semi-permanent light seals to the camera door. I do this by cutting to length various pieces of self-adhering felt and placing that in the same locations as the previous degraded foam seals of the camera. With the utmost care, I carefully place the new cotton felt self-adhering seals to the rear camera door. You will notice some of the original black paint has been removed due to the cleaning process, but unfortunately could not be helped as the adhesive was so heavily glued to the back of the camera. Thankfully, this will be covered up by the new felt seals, as you can see here, and will not affect the overall longevity of the metal or the function of the seals themselves. The new felt front seal is now applied to the front-facing portion of the waist level viewfinder. In most cases, I apply either the cotton felt light seals or a cotton yarn light seal to my cameras. However, the Rollop Automatic TLR will require a hybridization of these two seals because of the track groove you see here at the bottom of the film door. I make use of black 100% cotton yarn for these seals. I begin by trimming the end, singeing off the loose fibers, and then carefully placing the yarn in the track of the film door. In cameras where a cotton yarn light seal is indicated, in virtually all cases, the friction between the back of the camera and the film door is more enough to hold the yarn into place. However, in this case, the side grooves of the film door of the Rollop Automatic would be enough to hold the seal into place. Unfortunately, the top portion of the film door is quite shallow and will require a small bit of adhesive. In this scenario, I make use of metal leaf adhesive because it is very tacky and allows precision work. Just be sure you clean out the nozzle of your glue before using. After recovering from this catastrophe, I lay a small bead of metal leaf adhesive to the top of the film door. It's important not to place too much adhesive here as it could possibly bleed through the yarn, essentially gluing the film door to the back of the camera. I work around the rear of the camera door, placing the yarn in the track and then moving around the corner to the other side of the door until the yarn meets the felt seals we placed earlier. From here, it's just a matter of trimming off the end of the yarn, burning those frayed ends, and then allowing the glue to cure before placing the door back on the camera. And yes, I did trim that string. I use plain saddle soap to clean and recondition the external leatherette of the Rollop Automatic, as I do with many of my vintage camera resurrections and repairs. Following a slight fumble of the retaining pin, I replace the film door of the Rollop and then proceed to seat the door itself and lock it so that the new felt and yarn light seals can better seat in their respective locations. The mirror box receives one last dusting prior to replacing the waist level viewfinder to the camera. I do desperately wish the Lipca decal was not lost to time from the top of the viewfinder. After some additional light cleaning to the exposed metal and the leatherette, it is time to reassemble both the view and take lenses of the camera. First to be reassembled is that gorgeous f2.8 Init take lens, followed of course by the equally gorgeous f2.8 Enna viewing lens. The Rollop Automatic TLR camera was built by Lipca in Germany over 70 years ago now. These old cameras give a glimpse into the past, and I am happy and joyful to have brought another back to life for many more years of dedicated service. I put a roll of film through the Rollop, and there are no light leaks. The shutter is crisp, and the apertures are clean. Long live these old machines. Long live the Rollop Automatic.